Dead by Daylight Creation Reviews. I'm not gonna lie to you. Things have been kind of interesting here lately, and a lot of things have been happening. I debated upon whether I wanted to take a nap or go to sleep and catch up on things or try to push out a review. As stated the other day, I do have things going on throughout the week. I mean, I'm gonna be free the rest of the day, and well, now because I have something to do tomorrow afternoon. Well, I'll be free the rest of today and tomorrow morning. So I figured I would push out a review. Might possibly record some Rocket League or something because I know that's been on the back list for a long time. Um, yeah, I guess I'll just jump into this. Bum 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 bum. Dead hand. What is dead hand? Oh, the thing from Zelda that picks you up off the ceiling and brings you back to the end of the or beginning of the dungeon. Is that what that thing's called? Yeah. Did it try to bite you? I thought it just grabbed you and took you to the beginning of the dungeon. Am I wrong about this? Or is this the boss? The boss wasn't named Dead Hand. The boss that had all the different hands coming out of the ground that you had to do the thing to get up to. I thought it was the one that grabbed you from the top of the ceiling and grabbed you, not the hands that came out of the ground. Whatever. Ugh. Let's Map is going to be important here. Map, bottom of the well. Experience the horrors of the bottom of the well in Dead by Daylight. We all float down here, where you'll find many traps and monsters lurking and hiding throughout the tunnels and walls, as many screams will be heard throughout this haunted well. Power. Dead Hand's power is snatching and consuming. Dead Hand has snatched and consumed many victims, unleashes power by summoning demonic hands to be stationed at loops, generators, and exit gates. So essentially, you're just gonna have hands everywhere that survivors generally would be. You know how kind of crazy that sounds? Power wise? You have hands stationed between every loop that a survivor can run to get away. There's going to be hands at generators that you work on, and there's going to be hands at the exit gates. So, regardless of whether a survivor is working on a generator, running a particular loop, or trying to escape, they're going to be getting harassed by these hands. There's a reason why Dead by Daylight doesn't just have things like that, because it interrupts the core flow of the particular game. But let's see how you try to interact with these. Let's see. Survivors who interact with the hands will be snatched by them and will have to do some skill checks to escape them. What is some? Some is more than one, but generally less than 5 to 10ish. So I'm going to guess it's somewhere between 1 and 5, but some doesn't really explain things. Is it always the same number? Is it different? Any perks, affect this, etc., etc. While grabbed through, the dead hand will get killer instinct and will have the ability to dig its way into the ground and appear 10 meters away from the survivor, moving at a very slow rate. So, any survivor that gets grabbed, primarily doing the things that, they have to do, aka running loops. If you're running loops, you're going to be caught. If you're working on generators, you're going to be caught. And if you're doing exit gates, well, you're going to be caught. So it's not if you get caught, it's more of a when you get caught. You have Killer Instinct, and the killer, which is the dead hand, will be able to essentially teleport 10 meters away from the survivor. So it's essentially pinhead teleportation over. Away from that survivor, moving at a very slow rate. If dead hand gets close, it will then bite the survivor's head, giving them the hemorrhage and mangled effect. However, if a survivor does escape the hand before dead hand decides to appear, they will be rewarded with a common toolbox or medkit, and the hand will disappear. What? I guess item from Zelda wise, it makes sense, but Dead by Daylight wise, what? Why would you ever want to give survivors? Well, medkits is the primary thing. If you give them a brown toolbox, I mean, yeah, it kind of makes up for the time that they're spent, struggling. But why would you voluntarily give a survivor a medkit? That is insane. If all the generators finish, the hands will become more deadly, as one hand will appear in both the exit gates that will automatically grab a survivor, preventing them from leaving. And will require a teammate to help break them free of the hand. Breaking free will grant them both either a very rare or ultra rare item. That does not matter because we're talking about the end of the trial and they are literally at the exit gate. The very rare and ultra rare item does not matter. All that's going to do is go into their pool, and then there's going to be no point in actually running any type of blood web or anything like that. Like, you don't just want to hand out free items willy-nilly in cases like that. So definitely cut that towards the end. If you want to do something, reward survivors with extra blood points or something to buy those rare items instead of items altogether. If Dead Hand grabs the survivor that's caught, he'll activate its consuming power and automatically consume their soul from the trial. See, that's not very savvy, because as soon as that person is grabbed, you can then teleport directly 10 meters from them and immediately mini-mori them. Meaning that if there's one survivor left in the trial, if the exit gate gets closed, they are dead 100% of the time. Or exit gate, the hatch gets shut. They are dead 100% of the time. If a survivor goes to any type of exit gate by themselves, they are dead 100% of the time. So there has to be, at bare minimum, 2 survivors at an exit gate to be able to escape. So if there's 3 survivors left and 1 survivor's hooked and the other 2 are going to exit gates and they open them for whatever reasons, both of them are going to get grabbed. They're going to be stuck and the guy on the hook is going to die. And since it requires 2 to get out, The hand can then teleport to one exit gate, many more him, teleport to the other exit gate, many more them. On those rare situations you're playing with new people, the whole borrowed time where you have a survivor on the hook and then the other survivors go and try to save that survivor no longer is an option, because as you guys are running to the end, that one of you guys are going to get grabbed. As soon as you get grabbed, the killer is then going to teleport over to that particular hand and immediately initiate the mini mori or a grab interrupt and pick up another survivor and take them off. Keep in mind that with this type of pseudo build that you have, all killers move at 4.6 meters per second when they're carrying a survivor. So if you have a very good backpack build and you're running, like, let's say at the end, you're running some sort of backpack part, no ad. So you would want like agitation, no ad. Iron Grasp is kind of a meh. It only adds 1.5 seconds and you're already at the exit gate. But you could run Iron Grasp. And then probably Blood Warden at this point, honestly. Because if you're down the survivor, bam, that's pick up a survivor that's trying to release the other survivor from the hand. You pick them up, and you can use your agitation to get to a hook by the time, you know, they go through the whole rigmarole of getting that person out of the hand's grasp and doing all of that other crap. You could possibly get a Blood Warden activation if the hook ain't too far. And there are hooks that are like 2 seconds from the exit gates. So it is possible to go straight in, hook the survivor, get the Blood Warden activation, go back in, and just tear ass. Hmm. So in-game strategies where everybody 99%s the exit gates and then does whatever they need to do is no longer viable. Because as soon as they get to those exit gates, they're going to be grabbed. The other person going to the other exit gate's going to get grabbed. And then they are stuck. So that's 2 survivors out of the equation. So the only way both survivors could have any type of fathomable way to escape is to both go to the same exit gate, and if they do that, they are limiting their chances of ever being able to escape by quite a lot. So the killer just needs to find out where one of the survivors are going towards and then follow them and then interrupt them. Because I'm assuming since it grabs them at the exit gate, there's no way for the other survivor to get around the particular hand and open the exit gate till they save that survivor. So, with that survivor being blocked at the exit gate and the exit gate not being able to be touched because the survivor's grabbed there, the other survivor has no choice but to try to make some sort of rescue plan, which just enables the killer to just stand there. They go to the other exit gate, they're getting grabbed and can't escape. So they're just playing a cat and mouse, just stare at each other game. The game won't end because there's 2 survivors left. And the other survivor definitely ain't gonna walk up there and try to go for an obvious save that's gonna end up getting them clapped. Not to mention the exit gate problem and the escaping and all of that. So, trying to create interesting things versus actually making interesting things are a heck of a lot harder than what you would generally assume. Let's see. Perks. Redead. Scorch Hook. After hooking a survivor on a Scorch Hook, any survivor doing a generator, healing themselves or a teammate, and opening an exit gate will be affected by the incapacitate status effect. 30 seconds. You're literally just covering every basic action that survivors can do. Again, the only thing you didn't cover is totems and chests, which shouldn't be done or shouldn't be in the process of doing, but once, maybe twice a game. It's not going to be that much of a time sink. You have 30 seconds worth of incapacitation. So if you double that with the Trickster's perk, you can have a 30-second activation, hook somebody in a Scorch Hook, add another 30 seconds in, down somebody, wait until that particular effect ends, since there's no cooldown, hook somebody else right after that, block them again, and just keep doing that. This, mixed with that particular power, now as survivors try to go to the exit gates, they're going to be grabbed. And if they do manage to do the, save each other and go for the exit gate, you can now just block everything off for 30 seconds. So, obvious issue, obvious exploits. Wall Master. If a survivor unhooks a teammate or themselves, the entity will try to pull them back to the hook for 4 seconds. I'm going to assume that's some sort of struggle effect that you have to struggle, or it just stops them from moving for 4 seconds afterwards. This part literally says, I am going to camp. That's all it is a camper's hook. Anybody that stays around the hook and doesn't want anybody running off or doing anything special or precious, or if they want to try to get those devour hopes and still camp at the same time, that's what this perk is for. Obviously, if the killer's not camping, it's not going to matter because survivors are going to pull them off of hooks and heal them anyway. So, regular gameplay dictates pull off hook and heal. So they're at least going to be stood there 4 seconds regardless. Unless they see you, running at them or, ghosting them. Then it's going to be a different run story. But for the most part, this perk isn't going to be useful, not in the high levels. Camping is a valid strategy, but taking Wall Master and camping is basically the equivalent of a face camping. You are keeping them in place where your body generally would, but you're sticking to the terms of service by not face camping them directly. Lens of Truth, a hidden treasure of the dead that the dead protect. Survivors who mess up skill checks from 20 meters away from the killer, their auras are revealed for 3 seconds. Survivors that mess up skill checks regardless, the generator blows up. You don't need to see their aura when you know where they're at. This is another situation where if you don't know how to incorporate aura reveal, don't do it. I mean, I guess technically it's incorporated right, but it's redundant. 3 seconds worth of time after a generator gets exploded, you're either going to see the survivors running or they're going to be hiding nearby or on the generator. You don't need an exact location or anything crazy like that. You're already 20 meters away from them. If your killer is 4.6, you're going to be looking at let's just say 4 seconds, just to make easy math. It's going to take you about 4 seconds to get there. But I mean, they're already hearing your tear radius and all of that other goodness. Oh, this is the boss. Alright, yeah, the boss with the hands that come out of the ground. Gotcha. Well, I ain't been on this in a couple of days, and it don't look like I've actually missed much, huh? Jurassic Park chapter. I could see a Jurassic Park character being implemented, but I don't know about seeing any type of dinosaur in Dead by Daylight. It would be cool, but it doesn't fit the genre. I mean, yeah, it's technically a killer, but it's not like a horror movie style killer. It's a hunter, it's a predator. They hunt to survive, or in their case, to also escape from the Jurassic Park and all of that, to get that freedom. But it's a predator. It eats meat to survive. That's not necessarily making it like, a psychopathic or killer with a backstory or anything like that. I don't know if this would fit the bill. Also, weren't Indoraptors the super small raptors? If I remember correctly, Endos were really, really, really small raptors. I mean, like small enough to where the Dead by Daylight survivors would literally just punt them and tell them to go on their way. Let's see. If there's any depth to this, I'll go over it. If not, which no, there isn't. Yeah, this is basically saying use Jurassic Park. They gave you a picture of what they wanted to use. They gave you a picture of the survivor. There's not really anything supporting it. There's no work in there. That's just, hey, please do this. This should be moved over to like a suggestions or some other type of form instead of a creation form. This is not a creation. Alien chapter. I still remember the last one I did. Obviously, they're gonna use that. Let's see. This is similar to the last review that I did. They had hooks that applied face huggers and did all of that embryo periods and things like that. And then to cure, they had special pods and all of that. This is essentially the same as the last one that I did. And of course, they use Ripley. So I'm not going to go over this one either. Also, it's extremely short. This is another one of those picture. Please include this into the game. There's not a lot of supporting information or implementation. The last person that did this put a lot more effort into that than you did. If you want to actually see a interesting concept that couldn't be implemented because of the core game, but is an interesting thing, go look at the others, morph review that I did. Don't look at this one. And he's doing the thing that I ask people not to do. He's got one here, he's got one here, he's got one here, and he keeps stacking up more and more and more, and everything that he brings in, he doesn't even finish. Like, this was here, it's not finished, it's not complete, it's got no type of girth, it's got no impact, it's got nothing. Posted something else, same thing. Post something else, same thing. 3 things you've posted, not a goddamn one of them are finished. I don't even have to click on this to know that it's not finished. I will, just to scroll through and prove my point, but what do you know? Spring Trap, a picture, a couple of words. Vanessa, a picture, a couple of words. What do you know? Again, I don't know why people do this. You're just essentially, instead of taking your time and doing things, you're just throwing your trash into an area, making this portion or this forum lose value and everything that it's worth. Stop doing things like this. You got 3 of these. Combined all 3 of these into one post. Then you would have one, lengthy post with just a bunch of people that you could recommend to be in the game. But when you separate it into 3, it's just kind of annoying. He threw FNAF out there, so obviously he's gonna get views and things like that because that's what's all the rage right now. Guess what? Alien is older now, despite everything that's been going on recently. Nothing. Jurassic Park, sort of new, but still old. Really, nothing. FNAF, which is the newest out of them, thanks. Only thing you're carrying is the FNAF name and the popularity. That's why you're getting the things you're getting. Stop wasting everybody's time with these half-baked things. You got 650 people coming through and only 33 said something. And if you've seen, most of the comments were a whole bunch of A's and other just dumb comments that has nothing to do with the actual creation. There's an issue. Wasting time. Killer concept. The captain. Again, I go to your thing, and in the first couple of things, I see an issue, and then I scroll through, and I notice that, hey, you ain't got any girthier things, so I'm gonna stop doing these, because I end up saying the same thing every time. You guys already know what I'm gonna say. Why am I wasting my time with it? I'm not gonna bother going over the perks, because guess what? If they didn't put any effort into their powers and all of that, didn't put any effort into their perks. If anything else here is good, somebody reading this will comment on it or let me know whether it's worth talking about or going back to look at a particular perk. It's another waste of time. And then you got my other concepts all in the back, going like this. It's like, it has all the main things that I say. You can already apply it to that. You don't even have to look at it. I get tired of myself repeating things. I can only imagine with the people that actually tune in to see everything. Casey Hack must be a survivor. We got. See, this ain't bad. For a survivor, it might not. I ain't looked at any of this yet, but It might not be balanced, it might be OP, it might be under P, but at least there is effort put into this, you know? Well, that's all one thing. Everything here has been made by other people, things like that. Everything's been cited. You have all of this as her description. You got nice, spread out, things like that. This can probably be shortened. All of this could probably be shortened, or at least made better. You're also missing the different colors, because this looks like it was made in the Dead by Daylight part creator. You're missing the color code and things like that. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it does help make all your numbers and things pop. Like passively healing and, the super important words, making them bold or italicized or something different. So to make them pop and make this easier to understand. Definitely see if you can make these a little bit shorter. Because, I mean, if you're on the game and you're wanting to see what a perk does, you pop in something like this, this ain't too terribly bad. I pop into this and I see this, or I pop into this perk and I see this, especially just on a boon, I'm gonna say, nah. I'm gonna look this up online and I'm gonna get the gist of that because that's ridiculous. Then you got hack and slash and everything else posted here, all the links, everything else. Beautiful. I'm not gonna go over the any of that. I'm just gonna look at the perks, but this is a very good example of using the tools available to you. Now, let's see if everything, written on paper is worthwhile. Kiss it. You are driven to help your fellow survivors and punish the killer at all costs. Gain 100%, 150%, 200% more blood points for any killer grass rescue score event caused by stun actions. That is terrible. Absolutely, positively terrible. So, killer grass rescue obviously is when a survivor is being carried and you break their grasp. So, you have a limited amount of things that you can actually use to proc this. And then on the second hand, you don't even get very many points off that from base, so doubling it doesn't really help you that much. I mean, if you're looking to just grind blood points, I guess it is something you can use, but just think how many times and how many chances you have to actually go for these killer grass rescues. Not escapes, just killer grass rescues. At this point, doing gens would get you more points. And the thing that gets me is if you're going to build something that gives you more blood points for a particular event, why not have this perk do more to supplement or assist you in getting these killer grasp escapes? You know? Make it useful outside of what it's doing in this particular case. Like there's a lot of point or perks that and give you blood points and all of that, but they also do something else. It ain't gotta be super OP. It could be something minor, but give me an effect to where I can where this can help me. Like for instance, have it give you a minor speed boost like Breakout when instead of being near the killer, obviously. But it gives you a whenever a survivor's being carried or something, you get a speed boost, which would allow you to get in front of the killer to get those flashlight saves or anything else that need be possible. Breakout has the speed boost because you have to be close to the killer and you want to be able to, move out of lunge range and do anything else you need to do. This can have a small speed boost to help you get in front of the killer for flashlight stuns or any other type of actions, pallets, etc., etc. Body blocking's kind of useless with this perk, though. So, I mean, if you want a body block, you're losing value from the perk itself. But I mean, this allows this perk to be a lot more diverse. Now, I'm not saying just add speed to it and call it a day. I'm saying, find your own unique thing for what you designed this perk for and give it a little bit more juice. But I mean, every killer and survivor generally has a meh perk, and this just might be it. You never know. Slasher Slayer. Your determination to fight back in the face of overwhelming odds allows you to temporarily absorb devastating injuries. When you successfully pallet stun the killer 3 times, the next time you are hit by the killer's basic attack while healthy, you will suffer from the broken status effect for 20 seconds. If you are not put into the dying state within this time, you will passively heal from the injured state to healthy. Passively healing from the injured state to healthy or being put into dying state deactivates Slasher Slayer for the remainder of the trial. Slasher Slayer does not activate if you already suffer from the broken or deep wound status effects. I mean, this should absolutely activate for the deep wound status effect. The activation is when you are hit by a killer's basic attack. A killer hitting you with a basic attack that somehow causes any type of deep wound status effect or whatever. If there's any that actually exist, perk wise or not, should activate that. And I really can't think of anything that triggers a basic attack that'll give you deep wound. This Legion's Feral Frenzy, and that's the most common, one that's thrown up there. And anything else generally doesn't come from a basic attack that gives you deep wound. I can't think of my head any, or off on the top of my head, any perks that just do that off of a basic attack. Could be wrong. If there is, then, I mean, there's that. But I mean, that's another perk countering your particular perk that killer just has. So deep wound status effect is fair game. Obviously, if you, well, I mean, I see how this is put in to prevent no mither from healing up, or you're going against the plague or something like that, keep that from healing up. But I mean, when you're in the broken status effect, you can't heal up anyway. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in the broken status effect and you're just stuck there, it's not really going to activate. The thing that I don't understand though is why would you ever want to have to survive 20 seconds after being hit. I mean, the guys that are, the top game, pro runners and loopers and things like that, this perk is great for them because they're going to have dead hard, and all of that. So if they do happen to get basic attacked and not lunged attack, just a basic attack, it starts a 20-second timer, which they have the loop or whatever they're at, plus an activation of dead hard to survive that, which is generally easy for, pro runners, things like that. You just gotta play it smart. Doesn't say how long it takes to passively heal after that. So you're looking at 20 plus. Oh, within this time. Okay. Within this time. So after the 20 seconds, you'll passively heal up. Gotcha. So when you're hit, 20 seconds, you pop back in. Keep in mind the adrenaline syringe, which is what this is literally kicking in the fucking ass right now, is 15 seconds. So instead of having to stop and activate an adrenaline syringe, you add an extra 5 seconds. That is one of the things. And then you added an activation of repallet stuns and then the basic attack and all of that. Which, granted, some pallet stuns are hard to get if the killer respects every pallet, but I mean, if they're respecting every pallet, then you don't need the activation because you're getting that extra distance anyway. I'd say it's actually going to be harder to get the killer to just basic attack you when it comes down to it, because most killers I come across only use lunge attacks or their killer's powers. So you're going to have to get a killer that doesn't respect pallets and only uses basic attacks, or uses basic attacks instead of lunge attacks. Then you're going to have to survive for 20 minus seconds because, well, obviously any other perks that supplements that time, just like the adrenaline syringe, will bring this timer down greatly. So, I mean, you could probably get that timer down to about a 10-second timer to reheal. It's a very interesting concept that's going to be easy to get on. Easy to get on baby killers, but harder to get on, range killers, stealth killers, things like that. And if anybody runs your particular runs that character, they're going to instantly assume that you're going to be using that perk. So they're going to go out of their way to avoid pallet stuns because they know you're going to try to stun them to get your perk activated. 9 times out of 10. I don't know. I guess the value that I'm trying to weigh in getting all of this together is like, is it worth essentially wasting 3 pallets to get a health state back? If they're minor pallets, heck yeah. But I mean, the small pallets that you generally have to get a stun on, or the killer's just gonna walk around. The killer's probably gonna predict you dropping the pallet, and they're just going to literally walk around. If it's a medium valued pallet, I mean, if you stop and wait to get that stun, you're kind of wasting that pallet when you should have just passed through. You shouldn't be getting, pallet stuns and all of that until, you're already been hit. you've used up your dead hard, or you plan on using your dead hard here soon, and it's your last ditch effort before you go down. And sometimes it's better just to go down than to throw the pallet if it's like your first hook or something like that. So, is rehealing that isn't necessarily guaranteed worth dropping 3 pallets in the map? And that's kind of what I'm hung up on, pallet value. And you know they're not going to be smart to drop a useless pallet in one place, run a loop, go to another useless pallet and drop it, and then go to another useless. No, they're going to drop 3 pallets in the same area, effectively making that area a dead zone for any survivor that runs there. I don't think it's worth it. There's too many activations that come in here. The 3 pallets that you drop, and that's if you get 3 stuns on 3 pallet drops. If you don't get 3 stuns on 3 pallet drops, you've effectively wasted a pallet. And now we're at 3+ pallets. But you need to be able to get value out of 3 pallets that aren't, god pallets or, very good loot pallets or anything like that. That's one. 3 of those. Perfect. 2, you have to get the killer to basic attack you instead of lunge attack you or do anything like that. So when you get tagged, you can't be getting, hit by a basic attack as you're running through a pallet, because, that's goading that lunge attack for them to hit you before you drop the pallet in their face. So you need to be basic attack and hope that they just don't lunge attack you when you don't get any value. That's your second activation. 3, you have to survive 20 seconds without going down. And that's it. You gotta survive. So you have to be a good enough looper to run all of these loops, and everything like that. And you're already 3 pallets down, by the way. So I'm assuming you're going to go to another loop and drop even more pallets to try to get even more value out of those 20 seconds. On top of that. But you need to survive 20 seconds on top of that. When you get hit, according to this, if you get the deep wound status effect, or if you're already broken or anything like that, it does not activate. So you have to be at a healthy state when you take the hit. So at bare minimum, you need to stun the killer 3 times, then escape, get healed back up to healthy for this to even be a thing. Then, on top of all of that going together, this only happens one time, and it goes away for the remainder of the trial. Decisive is a free escape, which is potentially a free health state. All in one action. I mean, you have to be hooked, obviously, to activate it, but all in one action. You get decisive, which is a health state, which is like this, which is essentially just a health state. And you look at the value of this and the activations and all of that. I mean, you're going to be spending the majority of your game trying to activate this perk. So, I mean, if you are a person who likes to run killer and that is your primary thing and what you need to do, like you're doing challenges and things like that to keep the killer running for like 3 minutes or whatever, This perk is great for you, but in regular play, it's absolutely useless to the majority of players. You got to go so far out of your way to get an activation here. You can also shorten this considerably. And then break off this piece about it being deactivated for the remainder of the trial. After it's activated, break that off. Put that down there with the Slayer doesn't activate if you already suffer from broken or deep wound status effects. Break that off, put that there. Take what's left, shorten it, rebalance it, because that is a lot to do, while on top of that doing generators. So this is only going to be the person that's running. Then you have Boon Booby Trap. Once a teammate blesses a totem, Boon Booby Trap activates. Press and hold the active ability button near a dull or hex totem to bless it and create a boon totem. So you're saying that in order for this Boon Booby Trap to activate, you are basing it off of another teammate having a boon totem as well. So essentially, this entire character is made for an SWF. If you're not running an SWF, this character's not useful to you. None of the perks are. The Kiss It, it's not gonna really be any use to you. Slasher Slayer ain't gonna be any use to you. And then Boon Booby Trap really ain't gonna be any use to you majority of the time. Because it's rare that you find somebody that runs boon totems nowadays. I find maybe one, maybe two games. And two is stretching it out of an entire session of Dead by Daylight games that I play. So getting one, maybe two max out of a couple hours worth of play, it's not very good. And if nobody else has it, this perk's useless. But if you're with an SWF, I mean, it's not really that good either. Because instead of having a booby trap on a particular boon, why not just run the same thing, you know? Let's read what it does. It links to your other boon. Its chimes are reduced by 8 meters. The killer snuffs links boon totem, boon booby trap is active. They get stunned for 5 seconds. You can only bless one totem at a time. All equipped boon perks are active on the same boon totem. You need to clarify this last statement. Because if you're running, let's say, Boon Booby Trap, Boon Circle of Healing, Boon Shadow Step, and Boon Exponential, 4 boons. On your particular build. If you activate that at the beginning, Boon Booby Trap will not be active, but you'll get the rest of your boons. If you wait till somebody else boons up, then you boon after them. You're going to get your boon set. You're also going to get the link to their particular boon. Then what happens? Because this seems like it's just a blast mine for boon totems. And the bad thing about that is is it's after the Boon totem is snuffed that the effect happens. You would think they would have done it like Blast Mine, where it interrupts the action, and I wouldn't stun the killer for 5 seconds, but I would blind them for 5 seconds to force them to commit to snuffing that totem and getting a couple seconds of blindness afterwards. Stunning them is a bit much, when the whole point of stunning them is just to keep them in place. If they can't see, they can at least still move around and whatever, but they're not really going to have much to go. So they're going to end up committing on the snuffing the totem anyway. So definitely change the stun to blind for 5 seconds. Because they're going to go to snuff it. Boom, they get blinded. And other survivors running away, laughing. Because they just pulled a prank on the killer. But if you are in the market and you're adamant about your stun, then I would make it a full link. You link your totem to their totem, and when their totem gets snuffed, your totem gets snuffed. Or if your totem gets snuffed, their totem gets snuffed. Making a full link. So the killer, getting blind for 5 seconds, takes out both Boon totems. Which, I mean, 5 seconds of a killer's time times 4 is 20, and then re-blessing another Boon totem's like, what, 14 seconds? So the killer's still losing a little bit of value, but both of you have to spend 14 seconds on top of that, re-blessing your Boon totems. If you want to go all out and link things and have all of these clever things, you have to have the downsides of those too. You gotta think in both directions, not just one. I guess that's a very good spin on Survive with Friends perks, but you know, really need to think about the main crowd and how that's not going to really do anything with them. Baroness, expanded with chapter, work in progress. See, it's not that hard to do. This is what I respect. Updated. He lets you know that is a killer that's, you know, that was apparent in the past, that's being brought back. Letting you know that it's a killer concept. The Baroness from the past lets you know that they're being expanded with a full chapter, and it's a work in progress. That's all you have to say right there. I now know that, you know, take this with a grain of salt. Everything there is subject to change, etc., etc. That's amazing. I love this person for that. Atsuhara, if I ever said anything bad about you in the past, I take it all back, buddy. Also, Lulu, shut the hell up. Stop advertising your goddamn shit on people's things. I know this is in the past, but goddamn it. Every time I see it, pisses me off. Oh, is this hand drawn? Impressive. Not bad. Not bad at all. Especially that. That's done with all shading. That's what makes that as impressive as it is. It's shading. I mean, yeah, it is sketch art, but it's better than what most of the population can do. And he did this on a phone? Bro, you drew this well on a phone? what the hell? My dude's a god. I mean, it's not godly, but it's very impressive. Like, I'm impressed with your drawing skills, sir. We got Survivor, we got Vengeance, Isolation, Double Edge, Scent of Blood. All of that's still there. Attacks and abilities, things like that. He's even added the aesthetics. Everything that's different, he's actually put there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what, sir? I'm going to favorite yours. And you keep working on it. Because I don't want to go through it and then say the usual spiel on something that's subject to change. It looks like it is turning out amazing. That is what we like to see. Work that's introduced as something and then further worked on and developed into something even more amazing. That's what we like to see. I'm going to favorite this and I'm going to keep track of it whenever it gets done. Hopefully, it'll tell me it gets done and updated and all of that, and I get a notification. But if not, I'll just have to look up for it. Etsuhara, if you by any chance watch any of my videos, feel free to keep me updated. Post on a video or something, or get a hold of me somehow, some way when you get done. I would love to do a review again over a completed work. They are few and far between, friend. Speaking of few and far between, Little Lion. Whew, you ever went in a coughing fit so bad you tasted iron? What do you mean blood tastes like iron? Ooh. Pretty smart, pretty smart. Because he's got his social medias out there. He put their social media out there. And the artists. Because I know a lot of people on this particular creation forum who actually do want to add art and things to their particular creations, things like that, who don't generally have time to either create their own art or they don't have any sources to go to. That's actually not bad too. And he still has that Victor, like, smug, angry looking attitude thing, which is what I love about this whole thing. Charlotte's still, the kind hearted kind of one, and he has that smug, angrily, like, fuck yeah attitude. I like art that keeps the original, I was going to say aesthetics, but the original, aspect of the character. You can see the character creation development as it shines through their art, as opposed to taking somebody in a picture and then redrawing them as something else. We are an hour in. And, well, my throat hurts. I just had a coughing fit, so. Uh, I will be stopping by and doing another Dead by Daylight review sometime soon. I can't guarantee that it'll be, like later on today or tomorrow, but sometime soon. um, I want to record some Rocket League, but I definitely ain't gonna be talking through as I'm playing, so I guess I will record what I do, but I'm not gonna be talking or anything like that. I'm just gonna be chilling, playing, and having fun, the usual. Anybody that stops by, I'll probably put up in the title, no commentary, sore throat, or something like that. Thank you for anybody stopping by and anybody that decides to stop by the Rocket League playthrough and all of that. As always, supplement your lifestyle, and I will be back with some Rocket League action shortly.